Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
The sun dipped low on the horizon of Zyphoria, casting a warm golden hue across the lush, bioluminescent fields that stretched as far as the eye could see. Here, each plant pulsed with a life of its own, humming softly under the alien sky. This was a place of wonder, a world teeming with life and rich in cultural treasures. A far cry from the cold, utilitarian depths of spaceship's Priya had grown accustomed to during her years of travel. Now, 2 decades since the initial colonization mission had stranded her here, Priya had become a part of the vibrant rhythm of Zyphorian life. Her human heart, however, felt the ache of solitude, a pang that intensified with the endless whispers of the wind around her. While the Zyphorian people embraced her as one of their own, their unique ways of expressing emotion often left her feeling adrift. Priya stood in her garden, surrounded by the flora that had become her sanctuary. Unlike the sharp edges of technology she once knew, here, amidst shimmering leaves and glowing flowers, she found fleeting moments of peace. Yet, underneath the beauty of Zyphoria, an emptiness remained. The absence of companionship after so many years weighed heavily on her, making her long for the warmth of a human touch, the shared laughter that felt like a forgotten melody. Her thoughts slowly transformed into a sense of longing, a desire to connect with someone who truly understood her, someone who could break through the cultural barriers that enveloped her existence. Tonight, she would attend a gathering, a Zyphorian festival celebrating the enkindling, a ceremony honoring emotional connections and celebrations of life amongst their kind. The vibrant colors and lively sounds promised life, but Priya could not shake the feeling that she would be a ghost among the living. As Priya prepared for the event, she donned a flowing garment made from woven Zyphorian fibers. It mirrored the ethereal beauty of the landscape, allowing her to blend and yet setting her apart. She studied her reflection. The familiar face peered back at her, with its unfulfilled dreams and hopes still shimmering in her eyes. Arriving at the gathering, laughter and songs surrounded her. Zyphorian couples twirled beneath the shimmering sky, their movements mesmerizing, each step an intricate dance of mutual understanding. Priya observed the interactions, her heart fluttering with both admiration and yearning. Her solitude felt insurmountable at that moment. "Why can't they see the person underneath?" she whispered to herself, bitterness staining her words. As the festivities began, her gaze wandered across the crowd, lingering on the vibrant, expressive gestures unique to Zyphorians. A part of her felt like an outsider, unable to join the delicate interplay of emotions that unfolded around her. She felt the weight of time stretching further, 20 years of longing, of witnessing love that eluded her grasp, yet always glowing just out of reach. Little did she know, as the festival progressed, her life was on the cusp of an unexpected turn, one that would pull her from her isolation and challenge everything she believed about love and connection in the cosmos. As the rhythm of the festival pulsed around her, Priya felt the beat resonating within her chest, igniting a flicker of hope. Though she stood on the sidelines, the laughter, songs, and swirling lights began to wrap around her like a comforting blanket, momentarily drowning out her loneliness. In those fleeting moments, she lost herself in the joyous chaos, imagining what it would be like to have someone by her side to share it all. But that brief escape was interrupted when a sudden commotion broke out nearby. Priya turned to see a gathering of Zyphorians clustered around a stranger, a figure unfamiliar among the vivid colors of the festival. He was tall and robust, with shimmering skin that reflected the bioluminescent plants around them. His wide, expressive eyes darted nervously among the crowd, and he seemed lost, casting an uncomfortable shadow amid the jubilant lights. Curiosity piqued, Priya quietly approached the group, her heart racing with a mix of concern and intrigue. The strangers were speaking in low, urgent tones, and she caught snippets of conversation, filled with confusion and misunderstanding. "Doesn't know our ways," one Zyphorian murmured, while another added, "He'll draw attention. It's dangerous to be without a group." Priya's heart sank. The stranger was obviously in peril, separated from his kin without the support of his community. As she drew closer, one of the Zyphorians noticed her and motioned for her to step back. "Human," he exclaimed, a hint of accusation in his voice. "This does not concern you." "On the contrary," Priya replied boldly, her courage ignited by the stranger's plight. "He's alone, and you can see he's scared." The crowd hesitated, their expressions flickering between disdain and curiosity, but Priya's resolve pushed her forward. She stepped into the light, closing the distance between herself and the alien. "What's your name?" she asked softly, hoping to offer him a sense of grounding. "Zalor," he replied, his voice a melodious mix of anxiety and gratitude. He looked into her eyes, and despite their differences, a vivid connection sparked between them. Priya could sense his vulnerability, the way he was trying to navigate a world that wasn't his own. "Zalor," she repeated, allowing the name to linger in the air. "I can help. Just trust me." With a cautious nod, Zalor took a step closer, appearing grateful yet wary. The group surged forward, but Priya held up a hand, her heart pounding. "Let's not escalate this," she urged, sensing the simmering tensions. "I can explain the customs. Just give him a chance." With some hesitation, the Xiphorians parted, granting Zalor a little room. Priya leaned toward him, whispering, "I know you're not familiar with our ways. What happened?" "I was looking for a way to communicate," he explained, his voice trembling. "But I wandered too far from my group. They don't understand or accept. I need to get back to them before something worse happens." Priya interjected, her heart racing. She shared his fear and knew that the deeper cultural tensions could easily spiral out of control. "Stay close to me. We'll navigate this together." As the festival continued around them, Priya felt a surge of determination. Slowly, she ushered Zalor away from the cluster of Xiphorians, guiding him through the crowd with gentle words of comfort and the promise of understanding. All the while, she could feel their gazes piercing through her, judging both her and her new companion. "Where are you from?" she asked as they meandered through the vibrant tapestry of the celebration. "I am from a distant tribe," he replied, his voice soft yet certain. "We are known for our connection with the cosmos, for bridging emotional divides. But the tales of humans have often cast you as fundamentals. We are taught to fear what we do not know." Priya's heart sank a little. "I can see how that perspective may be harmful," she mused, her voice laced with understanding. "But not every human is like that. We share more than we think." They found a quieter corner away from the celebratory chaos, where light filtered through the translucent plants and the air buzzed with soft music. Here, Zalor's nervousness began to calm, and Priya marveled at the way his expressive features shifted with emotion. "Your people are beautiful," he admitted, his gaze penetrating her. "But I see the sadness in your eyes. Can I ask why you are alone?" Taking a deep breath, Priya hesitated, feeling the weight of her years in Xiphoria return. "I was part of a colonization mission. We thought we'd thrive here, but over time, things changed. I feel out of place, like there's a part of me that doesn't belong." Zalor stepped closer, intrigue mingling with concern. "Yet you remain here even though you are not understood?" "Because there's beauty in this place," she replied, finding strength in her honesty. "And perhaps, I hope to find connection, beyond mere survival." "Connection," he repeated, as if the very word held power. "You long for companionship, just as I do. But where does one find love when isolation cloaks their heart?" At that moment, something shifted between them, the air thick with unspoken emotions. Priya could feel his yearning resonate with hers, a mingling of desires that transcended the boundaries of their worlds. "Perhaps we can learn from each other," Priya suggested, her heart pounding with possibilities. "We could bridge our differences, share our customs, and maybe find a deeper understanding of what it means to connect." Zalor met her gaze, a flicker of recognition passing between them. "You may be right, Priya. Let us not allow our differences to set us apart." But just as hope began to blossom, the laughter of the festival echoed again, and the weight of their circumstances loomed large. Priya realized that their burgeoning connection might face challenges that neither of them could anticipate. And soon, the judgment of the Xiphorian society, which had once felt so distant, crept ever closer, ready to test their bond. As the festival began to wane, Priya and Zala retreated from the lively chaos and found solace in an isolated grove of shimmering trees, glowing softly under the blanket of stars. The air felt charged with an electric energy, a reflection of their newfound connection. Priya's heart raced as she glanced at Zala, whose expressive features still held traces of anxiety from the earlier confrontation. "It's beautiful here," Priya said, breaking the comfortable silence. "The light, the colors, it's like a dream." "It is," Zala replied, stepping closer and allowing himself a moment to breathe. "But I see the dream woven with shadows lingering in your spirit. Do you not feel at ease?" Priya considered his question carefully. "It's hard to ignore the solitude I've felt for so long. Being here, surrounded by a culture I haven't fully embraced, is both enchanting and isolating. I yearn for companionship, for someone who understands, truly understands." Zala's eyes searched hers, a flicker of understanding passing between them. "Then let us find companionship in each other. Let us learn about our worlds, our customs, together." Over the following weeks, their bond blossomed. They began to meet in secret, away from prying eyes, in the enchanted glades that radiated warmth and acceptance. Priya introduced Zala to the symphonies of human music, how the chords could convey heartache, joy, and passion in the same breath. One evening, she played a soft tune on a handcrafted instrument, the notes floating like ethereal whispers through the trees. "You speak with such beauty," Zala praised, his voice gentle and warm. "May I share a Zyphorian melody with you?" His hands moved gracefully, plucking at the air, and from thin air emerged a sound like water gliding over stones, a storied rhythm that spoke of ancient times and deep emotions. Priya felt as if the very universe around them resonated with Zala's song, and she found herself merging with the haunting notes, feeling a connection that transcended their differences. "You have a gift," she whispered, awed by the emotional depth his music conveyed. As days turned into weeks, cultures intertwined. Zala taught Priya the intricacies of Zyphorian dances, slow movements that mirrored the ebb and flow of the cosmos. She found herself slipping seamlessly into sync with him, their bodies a fluid dance of unity and understanding. With every shared moment, deep laughter became a bridge that wrapped around their souls, easing the burdens that had anchored them. Yet, their secret encounters came with an underlying tension. The risk of discovery loomed like an ominous cloud. Priya grappled with fears of rejection from the Zyphorians, those who believed human emotions to be too weak, too foreign to bond with their intensity. Meanwhile, Zala faced the weight of societal expectations, the pressure to conform to traditions that felt out of sync with his burgeoning feelings for Priya. One evening, under a breathtaking canopy of stars that felt close enough to touch, Zala and Priya sat together, huddled beneath the glowing leaves that swayed gently in the night breeze. "Priya, you share your music and your heart with me so freely," Zala ventured, struggling to find the words. "But do you not fear what could happen if our connection is discovered? My people, they fear what they do not understand." "Of course I fear it," Priya admitted, her voice soft but unwavering. "Yet I believe in love that spans worlds. Isn't that what great tales are made of? The impossible. If we allow fear to dictate our choices, we lose the greatest adventure of all." Zala's expression darkened, a flicker of uncertainty rippling through him. "But if they were to judge you based on their fears, alas, I could not protect you. Our bond could become the very weapon that tears us apart." Priya reached out, her fingers brushing against his. "We can't let society's fears dictate our reality. We must present them with a new narrative, one where understanding could flourish rather than wither under scrutiny." For a moment, silence enveloped them as they contemplated each other's words. The stars seemed to swirl above, and their secret world felt increasingly bright and beautiful. Then, with a spark of courage, Zala tilted his head toward her. "Could we blend our customs in a way that might help my people to accept you? A union of our worlds, perhaps?" Priya's heart raced as he spoke, the idea igniting hope inside her. "Yes, we could create a new tradition that binds our cultures, uniting our differences rather than highlighting them. But we need to approach this with sensitivity and care." With renewed vigor, they spent hours concocting a plan. They envisioned how each of their unique customs could complement the other, creating a shared experience that honored both their heritages. As the idea flourished, they dreamed of a festival of their own, one that showcased the beauty of both human and Zyphorian traditions. It would be a celebration of connection, understanding, and love. They would invite the Zyphorian community, hoping to bridge gaps that had divided them for so long. But no sooner had they formed the outlines of their dream than they heard a rustle in the brush nearby. Priya's heart raced as she turned, anxiety racing through her veins. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. "Yes," Zala replied. His eyes narrowed, listening intently. The underbrush parted, and a figure emerged, a prominent Zyphorian elder, known for his resolute nature and fierce loyalty to traditions. His eyes held both curiosity and concern as he surveyed the scene before him. "Zalar," the elder spoke in a commanding tone, "you wander too far from your kin. Why do you not share more openly what you've learned with the rest of us?" Priya felt her breath hitch, fear choking her voice. She exchanged a worried glance with Zalar. "Eldajor and I," Zalar started, but the elder's gaze settled on Priya, piercing and judgmental. "And who is this human with you?" Joran demanded. Priya's heart sank. They had been discovered, and the weight of their secret felt heavier than ever. "We," Zalar began to explain, but Priya interjected, sensing the rising tension. This was not the way they had envisioned bridging their cultures. "We've been learning about each other's ways," Priya said, stepping forward with newfound courage. "And we would like to share our findings with the community. A union of our customs, a celebration of both our cultures." Joran's expression hardened. He was a traditionalist, and the mere idea of bridging their worlds ignited a fire of resistance in his eyes. "You tread dangerous waters. Human emotions are not meant for our kind." Zalar's hand clenched into a fist. "But can you not see there's beauty in diversity? We can create something new, something that transcends the old ways. You must be open to understanding." Joran's gaze was unwavering, and Priya could feel the weight of the elder's disapproval thickening the air. The path to acceptance felt uncertain, and the very foundations of their newfound relationship teetered on the precipice of rejection. Tension hung palpably between them, both hope and fear battling within Priya's heart. Could they really bridge the divide? Or would the weight of tradition rip them apart before they had a chance to unite? The air was fraught with tension, thick enough to cut through. Priya stood firm, her heart racing as Elder Joran's piercing gaze bore down on her. Zalar's resolve was palpable, the anger radiating from him as he faced the elder. "Do not dismiss what we are creating here, Elder," Zalar said, his voice steady but laced with urgency. "Priya is not just a human. She is my friend, and perhaps much more. We must confront our fears directly, not hide in the shadows." Joran's expression remained stoic, but Priya could see the internal struggle flickering behind his eyes. Friendship is one thing, but you entertain thoughts that could unravel centuries of tradition. The feelings of a human, can they truly compare to the depth of our bonds? You risk much by allowing her to tread upon our sacred customs. "Perhaps that's the problem," Priya interjected, her voice calm but strong. "You're seeing my existence as a threat rather than an opportunity, a chance for both our cultures to grow and evolve together." The elder pursed his lips, grappling with the weight of her words. Priya could feel the churning emotions around her, fear, distrust, and something deeper, an echo of curiosity. She stepped closer to Zalar, her heart beating in solidarity with him. "We want to propose a union, a festival where our cultures intersect," Priya continued, desperation creeping into her voice. "A chance for both our people to learn from one another. If we do not try, how can either of us move forward?" Joran's eyes narrowed with doubt, but for the first time, he appeared to consider their proposition seriously. "And what will this festival entail? What will your human traditions bring to our sacred customs?" Zalar's posture relaxed slightly, sensing an opening in the elder's defenses. "We will draw from both our heritages. Music, dance, stories of our histories intertwined. It will not be a competition of superiority, rather, a celebration of empathy and connection." Elder Joran leaned back slightly, weighing their words. Yet, the heavy silence that surrounded them hinted that the elder was not entirely convinced, and the relentless pressure of tradition loomed ominously. "I shall consider your request," Joran finally conceded, his tone still curt. "But know this, should you fail, the consequences could drive a chasm between our peoples that may not be mended." Priya felt relief wash over her, but it mingled with lingering fear. "Thank you," she said, her voice steady though her heart raced. As Joran turned to leave, she knew that their journey into the unknown required courage, and it would not be easy. "Priya," Zalor's voice broke the silence between them as Elder Joran melted back into the shadows of the forest. "What if they reject us? What if they don't?" Priya replied, determination flaring within her. "We've established something precious here. We must fight for it. I'll face hell if it means breaking through the barriers between us." Zalor's expression softened, and Priya thought she saw fear dance behind his eyes, starkly contrasting with the courage she had sparked in him. "Then we shall prepare our festival," he declared firmly. "Together, we will show them that our love, our bond, is worthy of acceptance." As the days turned into weeks, Priya and Zalor poured their hearts into the planning. They brainstormed ideas, pulling from both cultures. Priya suggested integrating Zyphorian forms of storytelling into her own human narratives, where their histories could be woven into a shared understanding. Zalor introduced her to Zyphorian artistic practices, the fluid motions of their dances reflecting the language of the stars. They rehearsed together, and with each moment, they fell deeper into the symphony of their union, capturing the beauty of their surroundings, pouring all their hope and fears into their preparations. The festival became more than an event. It was a culmination of everything they had faced, a stand against reluctance and tradition, aiming to redefine what love could look like. But as they worked tirelessly, whispers spread through the Zyphorian community, dividing opinions. Some expressed excitement, eager to experience the mystery of human culture, while others were openly contemptuous of the prospect, clinging to fears of change. The evening before the festival was a nervous blur, and Priya's stomach churned with anticipation and dread. She and Zalor made their final preparations, decorating the grove where the ceremony would take place, with vibrant banners representing both of their cultures. "Tomorrow we stand side by side," Zalor said softly, his eyes locking onto hers. "No matter the outcome, we have given them a piece of ourselves." "You're right, and whatever happens, we've created something beautiful here," Priya replied, her voice tinged with both hope and anxiety. But the following day, as the sun began to set and the first attendees filtered into the grove, the tension was palpable. Elder Joran had made his presence known, warning others to tread carefully among the mixing of the cultures. Priya's heart sank as she witnessed skepticism flicker across many faces. Despite the resistance, Priya and Zalor moved gracefully through the evening, welcoming everyone with open arms. They presented their narrative, sharing stories and traditions, joyously merging them into a vibrant tapestry of sound and movement. As Priya showcased a human dance, vibrant with emotion, she felt the surge of energy from the crowd. Subtle eyes turned towards her, intrigued by the unfamiliarity, yet captivated by the passion. Zalor joined her, intertwined in rhythm, and something began to shift. A harmony slowly grew amidst the skepticism. Yet, just as voices began to stir with encouragement, a sudden outburst erupted from the crowd. A few vocal dissidents stood up, chanting against their union, desperate to pull everyone back into the familiarity of their traditional ways. "It is wrong," Joran called out loudly, rallying those who still adhered to his narrow views. "This will be our disgrace." Priya's heart raced as fear threatened to choke her once more. But instead of faltering, she stepped forward, taking a deep breath. "Tradition is important, but so too is evolution. We aren't trying to erase what you've cherished. We simply wish to weave our stories together. We're asking for understanding, not disapproval," she urged, her voice holding strength. Zalor stepped beside her, his presence steadying her resolve. "If we do not open our hearts to love, we will all remain prisoners to fear." The crowd remained a tumultuous sea of opinions, and Priya could see the fear deep in many eyes. Fear of the unknown was powerful, but she also saw glimpses of hope glimmering among the frustrated expressions. And in that moment, Priya realized that she had to embody the very change she desired. Who among you can say that love does not hold power? Who among you can deny that bonds can transcend culture? If we seek to close the door on this opportunity, we risk losing both pride and hope. Gradually, a quiet murmur began to ripple through the crowd. She felt the shift as hearts loosened, responding to their call, their truth. Join us, Priya declared. Partake in our festival and see that love can unite us in ways we never imagined. The challenge hung in the air, an invitation to either cling to old fears or embrace a transformative possibility. And then, as the first few ventured cautiously forward, something beautiful began to blossom out of the fray. Intentions merging, eager hearts rising above the darkness of doubt. The festival unfurled with a fascinating energy, slowly transforming skepticism into acceptance as more Xiphorians joined Priya and Zalor in a shared celebration. A palpable excitement encapsulated the grove, weaving their cultures in want of love and connection. As dusk enveloped the sky, bathing everything in deep hues of indigo and mauve, the moment they had both longed for loomed on the horizon. Priya and Zalor stood together, side by side, in front of the assembled crowd, ready to unveil the central ritual of the evening, the mating ceremony. Zalor's gaze found hers, a buoyant confidence rising in his eyes. Tonight, we will celebrate our mating, a union that embodies our hopes and dreams, the intertwined destinies of our two peoples. Priya felt a rush of warmth coursing through her as the weight of the moment settled in. Mating in Xiphorian culture was not merely a physical union. It was an emotional bond that transcended the physical world, deeply rooted in the cosmos and the essence of life itself. They had crafted this ritual to honor both human and Xiphorian traditions, merging the most beautiful elements of their heritage in a culminating act of love. As they began the ceremony, vibrant colors illuminated the grove. Lights representing the Xiphorian constellation danced around them, setting the stage. Xiphorian music echoed softly, punctuated by rhythmic heartbeats, creating a tranquil yet inviting atmosphere. With solemnity and passion, they began the sacred dance, a choreography that mirrored the swirling stars above. Priya's heart raced as they moved in sync, cherishing the emotions that radiated between them. They gracefully wrapped their arms around each other, and for the first time, the crowd leaned in, captivated by the unfolding of their intimate connection. "Let our hearts beat as one," Zalor intoned, his voice carrying across the grove. This mating is not just a joining of bodies, it is a commitment of souls, an embrace of the unknown. In that moment, drenched in the warmth of their surroundings, Priya felt the walls of her heart begin to crumble. The lines of distinction blurred, and the love they shared surged, almost tangible in the air between them. She stepped closer, intertwining her fingers with his. The crowd watched in rapt silence, their previous doubts overshadowed by awe. As the dance flowed into a fusion of movements and emotions, the ritual effortlessly transitioned into an offering of shared desires. Drawing from the depth of their connection, Priya and Zalor exchanged vows that honored both cultures, an alliance of love that defied categorization. "I promise," Priya whispered, voice quaking with emotion, "to honor the merging of our worlds, to stand beside you as we explore this vast universe together. Through every challenge and joy, I will remain true." Zalor's gaze sparkled with sincerity. "And I vow to protect this bond, to honor you as my partner, as we dance between the stars and our stories unfold. Your heart fills the void in my existence. Together, we shall defy the odds." As they uttered their promises, the Xiphorians began to hum softly, their harmonious voices enveloping the grove in soothing reverence. It was a melody that resonated with love and acceptance, reaching deep within each listener's heart, breaking down barriers. Emboldened by the love surrounding them, Priya and Zalor moved closer. Their bodies synchronized. The heat of their connection enveloped them as they prepared for the next phase of the mating ritual. Built on trust, this act represented not only a physical union, but a consummation of their merged cultures, a sacred bond. In that intimate moment, Priya felt empowered, surrendering to the ancient pull of attraction and emotion that coursed between them. She recognized that the act of mating, an intertwining of desires and shared lives, was more than just physical. It was a celebration of their individual pasts, woven into a singular future filled with possibility. The stars shimmered overhead as they leaned into one another, hearts beating as one. With a gentle touch, their lips met, soft, electric, a promise fulfilled. The world around them faded away until it was just the two of them, bodies drawing closer, spiraling into an embrace that echoed not just across the grove, but through the very fabric of their beings. A gasp rippled through the crowd, a sign of acceptance, wonder, and newfound understanding. Their mating ritual marked the beginning of a new chapter, a celebration of love that would resonate through generations. As the stars twinkled overhead, Priya and Zalor deepened their connection, the energy of their cultures merging tangibly. In that radiant moment, growing roots intertwined beneath the earth, the festivity transformed into a union that would reshape the narrative of not just their lives, but also the worlds they represented, human and Xiphorian. As the ceremony concluded and the crowd erupted into cheers and applause, they understood that they had not just cemented their love for one another, but had forged a path for future generations. A world where acceptance, understanding, and love prevailed. The alliance of their peoples echoed into the night, vibrant and alive with promise. And amid the whispers of the universe, their hearts intertwined, no longer two isolated beings, but one shared spirit, bridging the expanse of stars above.